Prime Minister has graciously provided a direct path for public opinion straight through to his office. The petition site provides a mechanism whereby we can use direct communication with our Prime Minister so that he is aware of our concerns and can jump rapidly to satisfy our requirements. This is a very good thing, as the message does not get filtered and is readily available to the Prime Minister, and that allows him to react instantly to formulate policy for the benefit of his English subjects. And I have won the lottery for the 12th consecutive week, bought a jumbo jet and am now flying it round my living room. Now let us take off the rose-coloured glasses and get down to reality. The fact that he set up such a mechanism is sufficient to raise severe concern, because one thing we do not have is a Prime Minister that takes advice. If he did, he'd not be in Downing Street to receive your petition. Ask the question: when did you last hear of a policy born as a result of an e-petition or public opinion? Has this government ever listened to the people? If it had, Brown would not have signed the Lisbon Treaty, we would not be in the EU, have regional government, be financing Scotland or hosting the Olympic Games. We would not be swamped by immigration, and we would not be fighting American war in Iraq or Afghanistan. These are big issues, so what chance the smaller ones? A listening government we do not have. A cynical, self-serving, foreign-dominated government who couldn't give a toss about whether the English live or die, we do have. Just what is this Downing Street petition thing about? Why was it set up? Well, let's look at who it serves. Ours is a government of surveillance and suppression on a scale that is totally unappreciated among the general public. They do not use troops, as do the Chinese, or tanks like the Russians. They have no need of the mobs of Mugabe or the overt presence of the Stasi that so categorised the Czech Republic. Ours control us by use of the media, and the forefront of that is the BBC. Surveillance is the other tool that keeps them one step ahead of the people that they purport to serve, but in reality seek to enslave. Our government operate in exactly the same way that the aforementioned dictatorships do, inasmuch as they spy on every facet of the public and private lives of their citizens. They do not need to have a secret agent on every street corner or to bug public places and private rooms. They've developed much more sophisticated and reliable methods of keeping tabs on all of us. They have CCTV cameras adorning every city street, every public building and every airport, dock and railway station. They propose to barcode every car so that they know where you are going, whose house you visit. By combining this with face recognition technology and mobile phone location techniques, they know when a political opposition group meet, who attends and how long the meeting lasts. If that sounds Orwellian and far-stretched to you, you do not live in the real world. They have the ability to track every credit card, mobile phone, email and letter, and that allows them to keep intimate tabs on friends and foes alike. A hell of a lot of our money is spent on developing more and better ways of controlling us. When you go on a protest march or organised rally, you're photographed by the police. They do not sling these pictures in the waste bin if the march turns out to be a peaceful event. The pictures go to the intelligence services that use face recognition software to identify those attending. The Downing Street Petition site is a part of this intelligence network. If you set up a petition, you're trying to alter people's opinions, to gather support and bring like-minded people together. You're a leader trying to alter both opinion and policy. You are thus a potential ringleader who may be prepared to oppose the government. You're a potential threat to the status quo. When you sign a petition, you're required to give your name, address and email address. If you set up a petition, they also want your telephone number. More importantly, they have the IP address of your computer, which is extremely useful if they want to monitor your mail and internet activities. The use of word recognition software allows the security services to see who you're talking with and what you are discussing. A gift indeed for a surveillance state. Now what do you think they do with that? The postcode is a superb piece of information that allows them to map out areas of opinion for polling day. They can then target propaganda to suit individual areas. They can map out hotbeds of unrest and specifically plan their future defences. You are on other government forms, the census, electoral roll, medical records, all of which the government have access to. By using sophisticated software, they can collate and categorise those using the petition site by any criteria that they wish. A superb piece of free information gathering that they could never get by street opinion polls. They can put faces to names by using the pictures collected by our friendly policemen who look after our interests and safety during our demonstrations. Also, they can use petition information to assess individual opinion and target their propaganda very accurately on election day. Polls and petitions have turned into political tools, or should I say weapons, and they are not weapons made available for your future well-being. If ever an English Republican Army emergencies at some time, they will have a good idea of the ringleaders and the sympathisers before their first meeting. It was intelligence such as this that eventually made the efforts of the IRA so futile. The Downing Street site was not constructed in order that a responsive and caring government could service the needs of the population. It is there so that the politicians can identify individuals, groups and trouble spots and problem areas, so that they can counter them in the most effective way to keep them in power and service the needs of those who sponsor them. The fact that you have signed a petition makes you think that you have done something about a problem, done your bit, anger neutralised. May also lead you to believe that you've gone right to the top with your grumbles and have no need to write to a newspaper. Now that would be a bonus indeed to our control freaks in government. Criticism nullified. Not many people see these petitions, and there are so many that they do not usually get much support. This leaves the government to use them like this.
For election. I looked at the Downing Street website this morning. Certainly there is a petition. There is a petition on the Downing Street website.
Order. Allow the Prime Minister to answer. Prime Minister.
Certainly there is a petition on the Downing Street website calling for an election. It is signed by 26 people. And not one of them are the Conservative front bench. And
this film is the only use I have ever seen made of a Downing Street poll. It was not the government that used it, but the Labour Party, as a political weapon. It is a perfect example of misuse and an excuse to ignore need. It is used as a tool to prove the lack of public support and thus a vote for government policy by default. All this is an electoral goldmine that can be used to target specific areas or even people with their propaganda and gain tremendous advantage over their opponents. Brown has provided electronic petitions whereby we can freely donate our thoughts, personal details, political leanings and even relieve our frustration, leaving us satisfied that we have at least done something. In effect, however, you have passed the ammunition to the enemy and accomplished nothing for your own aims. The establishment of the petition site was an act of genius and a lot of us fell for it. Give false information. At least they will have to work to get your details, but of course they still have your IP address. Best thing is to boycott them altogether. Long live England.